In this video, I am going to give you 6 tips on how to write a killer resume that will get you noticed by recruiters, noticed by hiring managers, and calls back for more interviews. So stick around, this is going to be a good one. What's up, recruits? I am Darren DeLuca and I am the Ramblin' Recruiter. I've been a recruiter for nearly 2 decades now, and I am passionate about helping you find the job of your dreams and make the most of your career. So if you're new here, consider subscribing and please tick the bell to get notifications of new videos as they are posted. Also consider joining the Ramblin' Recruiter Facebook group. Link will be down below in the description. Resumes are funny. They're kind of a combination between a real estate property listing, a classified ad, and a Tinder profile. They've got to use, just like a real estate listing, they've got to use the right kind of language to draw somebody's attention. Real estate listings might call a property charming, or spacious, or modern. A resume has to use the right kind of language too. Action verbs. Directed, managed, oversaw. Those are good choices. Action verbs are absolutely the way you want to go. Now, just like a classified ad, they've got to stimulate curiosity as well. And just like a Tinder profile or any other personal ad for that matter, it's got to have enough visual and sex appeal to make somebody want to pick up that phone, give you a call, and learn a little bit more. See where it goes from there. Before we jump into these 6 tips, I just want to take a quick minute to say I am extremely proud to announce that the very first Ramblin' Recruiter ebook is now available on Amazon. Now you can take all of these great tips and tricks and tools and put them in your pocket and take them with you. It's available on Amazon Unlimited for free, or you can pick up a copy for regular Kindle for $3.99. I put a link below in the description. I think it's going to be a great resource for you, help you get out there and crush your next interview, crush your job search, and make some sense of the whole process. So pick one up for you and your friends. I don't think you'll be disappointed. So today we're talking about resumes. Resumes are a huge topic. There are professional resume writers out there who charge $100 an hour or more who may disagree with some of my strategies, but the strategies I'm going to give you today are my top 6 tips that I have picked up in nearly 2 decades of being a recruiter that are going to help you optimize your resume for keyword searches, that are going to attract notice and attention and get you more calls on the jobs that you apply to. That's the whole goal, is to get called in for interviews, because no matter how great your resume is, nobody ever got hired because they had a great resume. They got called in for an interview because they had a great resume. They got hired because they did really well on an interview. You might want to consider checking out my video on how to ace an interview somewhere up here. So there are 3 main styles of resumes out there: the chronological resume, the functional resume, and the curriculum vitae, or CV. For today's purposes, we're going to focus primarily on the chronological resume. The other 2 have their time and place, but for 95 to 99.9% of the jobs that you're applying to, the chronological resume is going to be the way you want to go. Tip number 1. Your resume must have visual appeal. You have less than 10 seconds to grab the attention of the recruiter or hiring manager who's reviewing your resume. The fact of the matter is, resumes come in droves for certain positions, and I've spent more hours of my life than I care to remember sifting through piles of resumes, kissing frog after frog after frog, trying to find my prince or princess. Now, there are countless formats and templates available online that are free. Take advantage of the resources that are out there. You could build your own template for writing a resume, but why would you? There's already stuff out there online that you can use for free. When you're considering how to format your resume or what kind of template you should use, you need to strongly consider your audience. Bottom line is, a resume that is being submitted to a tech company might look very different from a resume submitted to a financial services company. This is okay. You want to consider your audience and take into consideration the type of role that you're applying for when you're choosing your formats. If I'm a digital marketer or a graphic designer, My resume is an absolute demonstration of my skills in that space. If I am a writer, my resume is absolutely a demonstration of my skills in that space. So you want to take into consideration what type of role and who is likely to be on the other end of that when you consider what format you want to create. You would definitely not send a blank, bland resume for a graphic design role. And similarly, you wouldn't send a highly visual, highly graphic resume for a financial advisor position. Proofread until your eyes hurt. Spelling, grammatical, wrong use of words or wrong use of homonyms in a resume is exactly the kind of thing that's going to get yours thrown in the trash. And do not rely on Microsoft Word to identify all your mistakes for you. It may not necessarily pick up that you put there, T-H-E-R-E, when you meant there, T-H-E-Y''R''E. It may not pick up on all these errors. Proofread until your eyes hurt. After you've proofread it over and over and over again, put it away in a drawer for 24 hours and then review it again. And after you do that, put it away another 24 hours and have somebody else review it for you. I have seen highly qualified candidates be completely discounted and discarded for roles that frankly they could have done because a mistake in your resume shows a lack of attention to detail. These kind of mistakes happen and they can happen to anybody. Just make sure they don't happen to you. If you're just getting started putting together a resume, or maybe you're just graduating and doing a resume for the very first time, I highly recommend the Resume Writing Guide by Lisa McGrimmon. I've put a link down below in the description. This is a good value, especially when you consider that professional resume writers charge as much as $100 an hour or more. Tip number 2, it is absolutely okay to change your resume a bit from application to application. Look, there's no rule that says you have to only have one resume and that's the only thing that you can use. My suggestion here, do the best resume you possibly can. Save that in a master file under a different name. Then as you're applying for different jobs, you tweak that resume to meet the needs of the employer that you're applying to. Obviously, different companies are going to value different aspects of your experience. If you're applying to a people manager role, you'll want to highlight that. If you have certifications that are relevant to a particular position you're applying for, you'll want to highlight that. It's perfectly fine to take that master file, tweak it to better fit it to the position you're applying to, and use that version of your resume. Now, I'm not suggesting you lie. I'm not suggesting you fabricate experience. I'm not suggesting that you omit anything. What I am suggesting is that there's no rule that says you only have one resume and that's all you can use. If you're not tailoring your resume to each individual position that you're applying for, frankly, you're being lazy. Tip number 3, ditch the real estate hogs on top of your resume. What I'm referring to specifically is full contact information and objective statements. First of all, objective statements are a total blast from the past. They were popular back in the 90s. They are totally not necessary anymore. We know your objective is to get a job. Okay, what you would be much better served to use that few inches of space on at the top of your resume is a highly impactful 25 to 50 word professional summary, otherwise known as an elevator pitch. Now, the other real estate hog, full contact info. In the past, that typically would include your name, your full address, 2 telephone numbers, and 2 or more email addresses. I'm saying in 2019, I would keep your name, your cell phone number, your primary email address, the one that you're actually going to check, and the city and state you live in, nothing further. Now, be mindful of your margins and fonts here. Make sure you're using at least half-inch margins and at least 10 point. Tip number 4, use bulleted lists. Please, 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 people, do not write a resume in paragraph format. Paragraph format takes far too long to read and review. As a recruiter, I may have as many as 100 or more resumes for any given position. And if I have to read through paragraph after paragraph after paragraph of text to try to find out if you have the requisite skills for this position, the chances are really good I'm going to discard that resume before I ever find it. Use bulleted lists. Bulleted lists are far more impactful. They're easy to organize into main headings, subheadings, and supporting details. They force your eye to follow the flow of information the way you, the resume writer, want me to follow it. And they are far more impactful than paragraphs. Ditch paragraphs, use bulleted lists wherever possible. Tip number 5, do not include your GPA from any of your degrees on your resume if it was less than 3.7. Now, I know this sounds a little bit brutal, right? If you had a 3.6 cumulative GPA in college, you're probably pretty proud of that. However, let me explain it to you simply. When you are a student and you are in school, your job is to go to school and get good grades. So if a 4.0, an A average, is excellent, 3.7, a B plus, is very good. Do you really want to put on display that your cumulative effort was less than very good? I know that sounds brutal, and there's probably a lot of bruised egos right now with me saying that. A respectable GPA and an excellent GPA are two totally different things. You can discuss a respectable GPA on an interview with a hiring manager, but you don't want to lead with it. You only want to lead if your GPA was excellent. Tip number 6, and this one is the most important of all, so I hope you've stuck around to hear it. Use the Laszlo-Bock formula. Now, down below in the description, I've included a link to an article written by Laszlo Bock, and he wrote it for LinkedIn. Laszlo Bock is the former CHRO, Chief Human Resources Officer at Google, and he wrote this article where he lays out a formula for a terrific resume. And it's very simple. Accomplished X by doing Y, which resulted in Z. That should be the formula that your bullet points follow to outline your best and most significant accomplishments. The fact of the matter is, if you list a laundry list of responsibilities, I was responsible for making the coffee and taking out the trash and everything else, you're gonna bore people to death. If, on the other hand, you list out your best accomplishments using that formula, you can make even the most boring of job details sound really compelling. For example, I increased our coffee production by 97% by arriving early and making extra coffee, which resulted in a highly caffeinated sales force who went out and drove sales through the roof. I know, that's a stupid little example, I know. But trust me when I tell you, this formula works. I've used it myself on my own personal resume. This formula gets results. Check out the link in the description. I have no affiliate relationship with Laszlo Bock. I make no money for referring you to him. He's a smart man. It's a good article and well worth your time to read. Bonus tip for you, optimize your resume for keywords. Recruiters are searching the job boards out there using something called a Boolean search. If you don't know what that means, look it up. But basically it's a keyword relevancy search. So any aspect of your resume that is a keyword, for example, if I was an IT professional and I worked in the C# language in an ASP.NET environment, both of those are keywords. Get them on your resume, repeat them over and over and over again, everywhere that it's appropriate to do so. Reason being, the more times the keywords appear, the more relevant your resume, the higher it appears in search results. The more calls you're gonna get. It's that simple. Optimize for keywords. Well, folks, that's gonna do it for me today. I'm Darren DeLuca, and I am the Rambling Recruiter. And remember, in life, wherever you go, there you are. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.